All right, all right. Welcome everybody to our. I think this is the second week in a row we've done the Thursday Quickie episode, as Chris likes to call it. You're here on the Ball Hawks podcast. I am your very somber host tonight. I get to be the Eeyore, Steve Fisher. You can find me on Twitter at ssfisher87. I'm not sure if you really want to follow me tonight. You're not going to get a whole lot out of me because I've learned over the years that when you're pissed off about football, the best thing to do is just not get on the tweeter machine. So you can give me a follow. I'll follow you tomorrow. We'll talk then. I'll do it tonight for this one. Little switch of plans. We were going to have our buddy Jake Vogel on as a guest today. He's on the East Coast in Georgia, so it's midnight his time. We're gonna postpone him until Sunday, and I am joined here by my usual right hand man, Christopher Phillips. What's happening today, dude?
It's my right hand. It was way over here for a second, but now it's here. Happy to join you for this Thursday night quickie. If there's, I know a thing or two about a Thursday night quickie, and thought, hey, why not jump on after that game tonight? And you guys can find me over on Twitter as well at PhillipsChris12. Don't forget to follow the podcast account at ballhawks_pod. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Give us a follow, hit the subscribe button, all those good things. And of course, we are, a proud member of the Dean Blundell Network. Steve, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, we're doing okay. It's just a football game. Worst showing of the season. There's nothing to be happy about. When you get beat up on by a 2-7 team that you should probably handedly beat. Lots of concerns everywhere for this team right now, but I've learned to be okay with losing. I was actually conversing with Lacey DaCosta on Twitter, and we had mentioned you try not to get too high with the wins and you try not to get too low with the lows. I think you talked about it a little bit last week as well, Chris. So I still care. It still bothers me, but that's football. We just did a whole episode about any given Sunday mentality, and it looks like the Dolphins didn't want that mentality to end, and they came in and played a great game against the Ravens. But I'm gonna pause you on that one because I'm gonna collect my thoughts a little bit here while we talk about something really cool in the NFL, or something that I think was super awesome. I've been waiting for Cam Newton to get a chance to play quarterback in the NFL again, and he's coming home.
He's coming home. Oh, Jesus. Do we just do our first ever duet?
First ever duet right here on the Quickie episode.
Okay. Yeah, Cam Newton coming home. The Panthers are paying him an absurd amount of money. It's a 1-year deal that could be worth up to $10 million with $4.5 million guaranteed, which I don't know, that for a guy that's missed half the season, that seems like a lot of money to shell out for Cam Newton. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? Starting quarterbacks never come cheap. He's essentially making what backups make. So I don't see it as a lot of money, but I think it wasn't you that sent me it was you that sent me the little picture. Do you have it queued up right now?
I don't have it. Oh yeah, here, just keep talking. I'll
okay. So he sent me a picture of Eddie B, Sam Darnold, and Cam Newton, and it says the Carolina Panthers are currently paying Cam Newton's replacement, Cam Newton's replacement's replacement, and for Cam Newton to replace his own replacement's replacement. So if that's not confusing enough, essentially they paid Cam Newton's following person in Teddy Bridgewater. When Teddy didn't work out, they brought in and paid and gave up draft capital for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's out, so then now they're just paying Cam Newton. So they're paying a lot of money for the guy that they originally had and cut. Just said in a very fun way.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to save that photo. So thank you for explaining it for the masses. But yeah, what a tongue twister of a sentence that is. Hey,
no kidding.
Yeah.
I just think it's great. Like this, everybody kind of treated him like people treat Lamar right now. They love to see Cam Newton fail. And I don't understand it. Like I hated him at Auburn because I'm a Bama fan. But I didn't, I don't hate him as a professional. I think he's fun. I think he's talented. He's only 32 years old. So I think he still has it for sure. And you know what? I hope there's a little quarterback controversy. I hope he proves again why they shouldn't have let him go. They've got some nice weapons there for him to play with. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey. You've got DJ Moore. You've got Robbie Anderson. You've got Terrace Marshall Jr. They've got a couple of tight ends there. So I think they have pieces to where Cam can be successful. And I really do hope Cam is successful again. And I hope he takes the starting quarterback job again.
I just want to see a guy go out on his own terms and not be forced out of the league, like what was happening. I mean, Cam's fully vaccinated now, so he's ready to go and doesn't have to worry about, that, I guess, dark cloud hanging over him like Eeyore. He's all set, ready to go. He can play. He's vaccinated, and can be, fully acclimated within the new atmosphere. And like our buddies at the PP1 podcast just said, 4.5 guaranteed and endless drama also included, which, I mean, if you want to talk about drama, that's probably brings us to our next big news of the day. And that's Odell Beckham Jr. signing with the Los Angeles Rams, which, I mean, surprisingly enough, the Rams didn't have to give up a draft pick this time. But once again, the rich get richer.
Did you see my tweet earlier?
I did, yeah.
It was maybe some of my greatest work that I've ever done. Like, I don't like to plug myself a whole bunch, but in this case, I'm going to. It is impressive that the team that gives draft picks away like they're going out of style didn't have to give up a draft pick. So, like, if you're the Browns and you're like, we couldn't even get a 7th round pick out of Les Snead when he literally doesn't care about draft picks. He's like, we'll figure it out later. Good for the Rams. Good for the Rams. The rich get richer. Obviously, you being a Seattle fan, you probably don't like to see it, but I absolutely love what the Rams under Les Snead have been doing. When everybody else is going one way in the league, the Rams are going a totally different way. In a league where everybody's collecting picks and you can't give away your 1st round picks and your 2nd round picks. Like, you have to really value those. He's like, here you go. I'll take that really good player. Like, yeah, they're just, again, rich get richer. You just got Von Miller. Now you got Odell Beckham. He's going to be a stud with Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball.
Well, and I mean,
and he doesn't have to be the wide receiver one guy that we kept talking about.
Well, and the big reason everyone is saying the big reason why Odell went to LA and what LA did to sell Odell Beckham Jr. on coming to the Rams was the fact that they're a pass first team.
Yeah. And
he's going to be facing a bunch of single or one-on-one coverage because now they have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, aka Bobby Trees, and Odell Beckham Jr. Plus factor in the fact that they have Tyler Higbee and Van Jefferson. So, like, who do you double? No, you can't. There's nobody that you can double. So, like, he really, I mean, as much as it pisses me off, and I mean, I wasn't getting my hopes up for him to end up in Seattle. I was being very much like, even keel. Like I said last Sunday about how I cheer as well, as I wasn't getting my hopes up, wasn't expecting him to come to Seattle, but he went to LA, and I was like, God damn it, like another one. But like he really did like set himself up and put himself in the best position. And Ryan from the PP1 podcast, Ryan needs him to suck because he just dealt him back to Ted for a fourth after he spent a second to acquire him prior to the fantasy draft. So that's just Ted being Ted. He likes to weasel those greasy trades. So good for Ted for convincing Ryan that was the best move to make. And Ryan, you're a sucker.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't hear a lot of what you said after you called a grown-ass man Bobby Trees. But I tried listening to you there. Bobby Trees.
We're having some technical difficulties apparently tonight, guys.
Yeah. By the way, Ted is a greasy trader. I remember our first year, he suckered me into trading him. I think it was a 4th round pick for Wes Welker of the Broncos. And Wes Welker never touched my team. He didn't help me in any way. So I basically just gave Ted a 4th round pick. And somehow he talked me into it. I don't know how he does it. Ted's a greaser. So I hope it's him running the PP1 account through YouTube there.
It's like Ted last year with me and trading him Nick Chubb for Josh Jacobs. Like, I will never forgive Ted for that trade because it's my own fault, but he convinced me that it was the right thing to do.
I know. He's like the Belichick of our league. When you're making a trade with him, you're like, I probably shouldn't do this because it's not going to work out well for me. And then you do it anyways.
Yeah.
We should note, if you are a viewer right now on Twitter, we've been having some issues, or I should say Twitter and Restream are having issues. If you have a comment in the chat, we are unable to see it. So if you want to comment with us, you can go over to our Facebook page or to our YouTube page, and we'll be able to see your comments. So if you want to get in there, jump on in with us there.
Jump on it. Come on, anyone? Fresh Prince Bel Air?
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Do we have to talk about this Thursday night game?
Let's do it, Eeyore. Come on.
End the episode right now.
Come on, Eeyore.
What we should have started with, and I totally meant to, but my negative Nancy brain here was going, is a shout out to all the veterans today who are currently serving in the military or who have served in the past. I know I'm eternally grateful for people's services to keep my friends and family safe here at home. We've got a few followers on Twitter that I know are from they've done service, and so thanks to Marquise from Cover 4 with the Guys and to Steg and Cheese, Dave Steger. Thank you, boys. Appreciate it. You guys should go check out Cover 4 with Guys, their latest episode. They had some guys on saying how you can help veterans out in your area. So check them out. As for the game, this game sucked. Everything about it. The suck meter was on full force for the Ravens today. Oddly enough, in the first quarter, I was feeling really optimistic. We only got 3 points, but I was feeling pretty good about it. Did you watch the whole game, Chris?
I did, and I can tell you the best thing I watched today was Cruella on Disney Plus, and it certainly was not this football game.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, the whole first half really. And I'll even lump the third quarter into that. They walked into the fourth quarter. The Dolphins were up 6-3. It was looking like a repeat of the Jags and Bills game. but it wasn't even like good defensive football. It was just like sloppy execution, not picking up blitzes. It was poor throws. It was bad reads, poor play calling on the offense. And that was for both sides. Like you don't just score 6 points or just 3 points if it wasn't a one-sided affair. But in that first quarter, I was actually feeling, pretty good. The Ravens scored that first three. They marched down again. Tucker had a rare field goal miss. But I wrote some of my notes that, 3-0 at the end of, the quarter one there. But I feel good about the Ravens were controlling the game. They did not let Miami get going. They were marching down the field. I did write execution, which would turn, field goals into touchdowns. We talk about that all the time. Can't win in this league if you're kicking field goals. But you know what? I wasn't feeling really bad. The Dolphins had 16 total yards after 3 drives. 8 rushing yards, 8 passing yards. The time of possession, I didn't write it down, but it was something ridiculous. Odafe had a big sack in the first quarter. I wrote down defensive rookie of the year candidate. He looked like he was.
I know exactly what sack you're talking about. That was like that. It was on that twist play where he was going to. I want to say he was going right, and then he like spun around and like a huge lane for him to just come down and hit Jacoby Brissett, which I just want to add, it's really weird to see Jacoby Brissett wearing number 14, because when I see that, all I can think about is our boy, friend of the show, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Whoa, 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 Fitzmagic. Yeah, I kind of do miss Fitzmagic in Miami there. Yeah, so now I have to talk about the even worse. I guess we should back up. There was a pretty critical play early on in the game that people were just lacing Sammy Watkins on Twitter over. The ball kind of gets thrown high like in an arc, and he's got his head turned, so it looks like he's tracking the ball. And for some reason, he just comes to a standstill. Like he put on the afterburners to stop. I don't know what he was doing. I can't remember if it was Aikman that said, he knew exactly where the field goal pole was. Maybe that was part of it. But the ball landed, like 6 inches off, out of the field. You could have just kept your feet in, caught the ball, toes in, there's a score. That could have, that probably is the difference in the game right there.
Yeah, that's I remember watching it live being like, what was Sammy doing there? Like he just stopped. And then I saw Marquise tweet about it, and I saw a couple other people tweet about it. And definitely not a good look for a veteran wide receiver. Like you could maybe give a guy a little bit of a slack if he's a rookie, but when you're a veteran wide receiver doing that, it's not a good look for sure. So, and I'm glad to see the PP1 podcast guys agree that I made the right choice watching Cruella tonight, but unfortunately I watched both. So, yeah. One definitely weighed down the other, that's for sure.
Yeah, there was one other thing in the first half here. I just was waiting for this. The Ravens have been actually very effective on this quick tempo, hurry up kind of offense. It's what they've been using to come back from behind in most games. And I wrote down in my notes, what happened to them? Are we playing down to the Dolphins? What's happening to this kind of like killer mentality where it's like, get to the line quick, don't let the defense make adjustments? I was a little confused with that. And then towards the end of the half, it was 4th and 3rd at like midfield. And I thought to myself, why didn't they go for it? You call Pete Carroll, Pete Coward. There were a couple times where I really wanted John Harbaugh to go for it. Just go for it. Like you scored 3 points in 3 quarters. it couldn't have gotten worse. Like, trust that your guys can pick up 3 yards, and if they can't, well, you at least went for the win. It felt like they were kind of sitting back on their heels until the last 7 minutes of the game. That 99-yard drive, they were just going for it. They were fast paced. Yeah, the Dolphins were playing some prevent, but they weren't playing all prevent.
I feel like the Dolphins really, and I know you've talked a bit about this a few times. I feel like the Dolphins really exposed the Ravens' injuries on the offensive line.
Yeah. They every time I looked up, I was like, okay, protect this man. And then it was like they weren't getting a lot of interior pressure, it looked like, but their outside pressure, the guys were collapsing in within 2 seconds. So he had to move up in the pocket right into the defensive lineman. And then Miami was even bringing some linebackers in there to help.
And I think some DBs and yeah.
Shout out to Miami. They did a fantastic job of getting that edge pressure to execute their game plan, because if the Ravens tackles held up, you can't execute, that game plan, and you're probably getting a ton of passes over the middle to Mark Andrews all day. But they executed on defense for sure.
And I'm sick of hearing Joe Buck and Troy Aikman being like, "Well, it's a really humid night here in Miami." Like, okay, guys, like I get it, but like both teams have to suffer the effects of the humidity. I don't care that Miami plays in it all the time; they're still suffering the effects. So stop. Sorry, Steve, but stop giving Baltimore like an excuse for why they might look a little bit slower or a little bit more lackadaisical or whatever you want to call it. Both teams have to deal with the humidity, and it suffers. Everybody suffers equally. So,
yeah, I totally get that. You're 100% right. The weather affects both teams the same. It's no different than, let's say Miami came up to Baltimore and there's snow. Like, oh, look, like the snow is now the snow affects both teams. You could say there's a slight advantage that, Miami is used to that humidity a little more. But you knew you were playing Miami since the schedule was released. Like, I'm sure there's ways that you can hydrate yourself to get used to it. And not only that, they actually put up a little infographic of how many Ravens are from Florida. These like most of them know the humidity of Florida already. Like, Lamar Jackson is from there, Hollywood, Devontae Freeman, Sammy Watkins. Like, there's a lot of guys from South Florida. That's just an excuse to me. Like, if you cramp, great. You came in with, underhydrated people. That's on you. Yeah. Be better, right?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. It seems like every time Miami plays a home primetime game, it's like a script that announcers just have to go back to. Like, oh, it is humid, because they can't think of anything like, football related to say about what's going on.
There's not a lot to say about the Miami Dolphins. Oh, did you know that Dan Marino once played quarterback for the Miami Dolphins? And back in 1972, they went undefeated.
Yeah, there's just like these like scripted things that they just always go back to each time.
Yeah, exactly.
One super positive, cool thing that happened in the third quarter, veteran linebacker Justin Houston got to his 100th career sack. Congratulations to him. That's fantastic. Look at it's got to be Ryan running the PP1 podcast right now. You know what fights that humidity? Manscaped crop preserver.
Hashtag advertisement.
Yeah, I know who's going to be going on to the PP1 show next and plugging our advertisements for sure.
Oh, are you talking about Bad Tattoo Brewing?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Or Bad Tattoo Kelowna, where you can sign up for the Bad Tattoo Beer Club at badtattoobrewing.com. The advent calendars are coming out pretty quick, guys. Get online. Go order those advent calendars at badtattoobrewing.com.
Right. So they're the official sponsors of the Ball Hawks podcast. I cannot get enough. I know I say it every single time we talk about Bad Tattoo on this show, but I cannot get enough of this chocolate peanut butter porter.
I was planning on showing everybody like how like dark and like amazing, like you can kind of see what's left in my glass there. It's too good not to just like, I enjoy it too quickly.
Yeah.
So
You don't just go buy 1 4-pack of it. You probably want a few of them, because you'll be done the first 4-pack in, moments of bringing it home, and you're like, what happened to the rest of them?
Yeah.
And then
unless you're my dad.
Yeah. Unless you're Gord Phillips and you have a palate like a child.
Whoa, hey. Gord Phillips is a saint.
There you go. Yeah, just a couple more things about the game, and then we'll probably let everybody go because we're all sad. Things that weren't working: offense, very predictable. They kept throwing this screen that either got picked or stopped right away or batted down. Stop doing things that continually don't work. It's the definition of insanity. Repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. So stop being predictable. There was a Mark Andrews catch that people were debating over whether it was a catch or not. I was doing a little bit of bedtime stuff with my kids, so I didn't see it completely. To me, it looked like a catch, and then our friend Sarah Ellison retweeted a video of it. So go check out Sarah's Twitter account if you want to see the reason why they called it not a catch. It looked like the nose of the ball hits the ground. I think the thing everyone's upset about is the fact that it was called a catch on the field and it didn't look like there was like irrefutable evidence against it. So you win some of those calls, you lose some of those calls. The one Sarah tweeted definitely looked like the nose kind of hits the ground, but I can see why a Ravens fan might be upset. All in all, the Ravens did not deserve to win this game. They were outplayed by a way inferior opponent. But hats off to the Miami Dolphins. They pulled out a win, and the AFC North is still an absolute crapshoot. Nobody knows what's going to happen from week to week. It's going to end up week 18 will definitely decide this division if it keeps going how it has been. Got anything else to add?
I guess before we wrap it up, can we just quickly, we don't have to discuss it, but let's just watch a quick clip about the greatest touchdown that never was.
Had to have reported as eligible, and then look at that. He's across the goal line.
Like,
so cool play.
That is an offensive lineman. That is the Miami Dolphins right guard who I don't have the entire clip up here, but he caught a screen pass that was intended for Myles Gaskin. He caught it out of the air, ran towards the end zone, and then as he's getting low bridged by the DB there, has the awareness to stretch out the ball to get it over the goal line. Like I said, greatest touchdown that never was. Had he scored, that would have been my, for sure, that helps no one touchdown of the week. But it didn't count. Oh, yeah, there it is. PP1 podcast, that helps no one. But it didn't count, so we can't count it as that helps no one. It was just, I don't know. It's fun to see those big guys prove no, I actually am really athletic regardless of how big I am.
Yeah, that was a freaky play. That was a cool play. I don't even think that those don't count when you're an offensive lineman and you just I caught the ball. I'm going make this ridiculous play, and then you're like, Oh, right. I'm not eligible to catch the football. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
Cool play by Robert Hunt. Yeah, definitely helps no one.
No. All right, guys. I think I'm going to take over the hosting duties here real quick. I think that is it for our Thursday Night Football Quickie. I hope we are quick enough for you. I know it's quick enough for me. How about you, Steve?
Very quick.
We appreciate you guys tuning in live, listening to the Quickie here on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Be sure to give us a follow at ballhawks_pod. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like I said, give us a follow, hit the subscribe button. And as always, guys, we'll see you on Sunday, 8:15 p.m. We are going live once again on all those social media channels. Go Hawks.
Peace.